I started this project 3 months ago, and over the course of these last 3 months, I have experienced a whole roller coaster of emotions ranging from I have just ruined my entire room and spent lots of money doing so, to wow, I think I need to start pursuing my career in interior design. I have learned that I am not the biggest fan of DIY projects. I like watching house hunters, I like watching Bobby Burke decorate a house in 3 days on Queer Eye, I like decorating my room and putting up cute posters and stuff, but I do not like painting and ripping out carpets and sweeping up dust and putting in flooring. So unless I have a really big change of heart sometime in the future, or I marry someone who's really handy, you probably will not ever see me buying a fixer-upper house. And throughout this process, I also learned just how important my environment is to my well-being. I loved being in my old room and I love being in my new room, but in that weird limbo stage in between that lasted months, I just felt so discombobulated, like I didn't have a home base. My room has undergone many transformations since my family first moved here. In the beginning, it was very pink, very flowery. A couple of years ago, I decided that I wanted to break up with the color pink, and I got new curtains, changed the sofa cover, changed my desk legs. I did keep the chair because that was a pale enough pink to be allowed to stay. I moved my bed into this little nook that I have, and I pushed my desk to the back wall, but then it was too dark there, so then I pushed it to this wall, and it's been there ever since. Fast forward to 2019, I think I'll be living at home for college, so I want to update my room, but then nope, actually I'm going to Spain for college, so room makeover is canceled, but then oh, coronavirus happened. It turns out I'm taking a second gap year, so room makeover is back on. So one of the first steps that I took in this process was to start collecting inspiration on Pinterest. I knew I wanted wood floors, and I knew I wanted at least some black walls because I kept seeing that on Queer Eye and it looked really good. So then I just tried to figure out the rest by seeing what I liked and making this mood board, and then it was time to get started. I tried to measure my room, which is very difficult to do by yourself, so I highly recommend recruiting a younger brother if you have one. I decluttered my room a little bit, which is actually super easy and fun because I already did a really big declutter of my room a couple of years back. So all I really had to do was look through a couple of drawers and shelves, and then I gave away some stuff or listed it on Poshmark. My box of wood from Lumber Liquidators. So they do have samples, but they're like tiny samples, and I wanted to really visualize what it would look like in my room. So I got a whole box. If I don't end up liking it, I can return it, but I think I'm gonna like this. I also got paint samples from Home Depot, 3 different colors. So I'm gonna try to paint some swatches, probably on the wall with my desk, because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna want that one to be black. So yeah, now I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start packing stuff up into boxes so that I can clear out my room. I think the only difficult piece of furniture to move is gonna be the bed. I don't really know how we're gonna do that exactly, but everything else should be easy. Yay! Okay.
Sweetheart, I hate to leave you on your own.
I've got my cans of paint, trim paint, 2 wooden stirrers, painting kit, painter's tape, and this hole repair tool because I have so many nail holes in my walls. Now I just need painting clothes. So out of black, black, and black, I ended up choosing black. In all seriousness, they are pretty different in real life. It just might not show up on camera. So this first one is their pure black color, and then the second one is Dark Secret, and that one's more like a really, really dark gray. And then the last one is called Off Broadway, and it actually says Deep Blackened Espresso Brown. But when you see them together, you really see how much lighter the middle one is, and then that Off Broadway one kind of looks like it has almost a purplish tint. So I decided to go with this one because I was not vibing with the purple tint, and then the middle one just looks like you painted your walls black but then they faded. This is the one I'm going with. And then for the white, I don't have the paint chip for that one, but it's called Crystal Cut. So it's a pretty basic white color, but it has like a little bit of a rosy blush, I think they called it. I thought it would be nice to have some warm tone to my room. So yeah, let's do this. I did not get any samples of the white color, and honestly, I regretted that a little bit because I was like, oh, it's just white, like it'll look like the white walls that we have now. But I realized once I started painting that our walls were actually more of like an ivory color, and the white paint that I bought was like paper white. So it was a little bit shocking in the beginning and I got a little worried, but I think now that it's all decorated, it kind of tones down the intensity. But yeah, just be careful with your paint colors. That is my pro tip. While my room was inhabitable because of paint fumes or nails on the ground, I had to live in my brother's room, so shout out to him for being a very accommodating little brother. Painting the edges was super annoying and they definitely didn't turn out perfect, but they're good enough for me, and in most of the places they're covered up by decorations so you don't really see it anyways. Just don't look too closely.
Okay, Google, play like songs on Spotify.
It is day 3 since I started painting and my room is still very much a mess, but I needed to film a video, so this is what I did. If I set up my camera like this, you really can't tell that the rest of my room looks like this. So my dad has been helping me with the painting. After I finish filming today's videos, we just need to do some touch-ups. Yeah, like right there along the ceiling, and then with the black we actually are gonna try out using Sharpie to fix the ceiling edges. I don't know if it'll work, but the only way to know is to try. For the flooring, I knew I didn't want real hardwood flooring because it's more expensive and it could get damaged more easily. And then between laminate and vinyl plank, I chose laminate because both are pretty similar in price and installation, but laminate is slightly better for the environment because it's a plastic covering on a piece of wood rather than plastic all the way throughout. The process of putting in the flooring was very loud, very time consuming. Luckily the floor underneath the carpet was really nice and smooth and the shape of my room was quite simple, but the click lock planks were not quite as easy to install as the marketing led me to believe. One slightly annoying thing was that we thought the boards would fit under the baseboards, but they were just a bit too thick to fit under them, so we had to rip off the baseboards and then shoot them back on with this terrifying nail gun contraption that I was not allowed to use. In a lot of the Pinterest photos that I saved where they had black walls, they also had a contrasting white trim, and I loved that, so I really wanted to paint them white, and my dad was like, "Are you sure? I think you should keep them brown." And I said, yeah, I'm gonna paint them white. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. So for those of you keeping track at home, that is score me 1, dad 0. We went to IKEA a couple of times, but they were actually low in stock in a lot of things, but I did pick up a blanket, some lights, and some materials to make these DIY pendant lights that I saw on the Sorry Girls. So the blinds. Funny story with the blinds. I had pink ones and then I wanted to spray paint them white, which proved to be much more difficult than I thought it would be. First of all, we should have hung them somewhere instead of putting them on the ground to paint them because the paper started sticking to them. And then I guess the weight and stickiness of all the paint just made them nearly impossible to operate. So we switched out the blinds in my room with the ones in my brother's room, which are this very, very pale blue, like icy white color almost, just to see how it would look. And it looked okay, so we left those failed ones in my brother's room and I took my brother's blinds. He doesn't use his blinds, to be fair, because the string on mine was like completely falling apart, so you could tell that I open and close them every single day, whereas his looked like brand new. So he was fine with this. I just want to clear that up. I did not just steal these from my brother's room. He approved this. So I would say this was the stage when I started to question what I was doing because my room felt so empty but so different and not cozy at all, but at this point it was just way too late to turn back. But as I started to put the finishing touches on it, like the bed sheets, the fairy lights, it kind of started to warm up and I got more and more excited to see the finished product. Which brings us to the room tour part of this video. So, I want to start with what I think is the most unique piece in here. After watching a lot of Flea Market Flip, I really wanted to try and get some thrifted furniture for myself, so I visited 3 different thrift stores on a couple of different occasions, and I definitely found a lot of cool stuff that I just didn't feel capable of schnazzing up. Like, if I were able to reupholster chairs, there were tons of chairs that would have fit great for that, but I didn't really want to do anything beyond painting, so I found this little guy and I fell in love with it. The paint on the legs was originally this really pretty dark green color, so we didn't even touch that. All we had to do was literally tighten up a couple of screws to make it less wobbly, and then we sanded down and repainted the top because it was super beaten up, and voila, $10 for this. This drawer is not really functional, but that's okay. We forgive it because it's cute. And then it has this little scratch on the handle here, but we just call that character or charm. And honestly, the main purpose of this part of the room is not storage. It's really just here for decoration because I need some nice backgrounds for filming. So yeah, let me tell you about what decorations we have here. These 3 are just some random knickknacks that we had around the house. And then these palm fronds I got from a store called A Floral. Let me get down so I'm camera level. I'll link everything that I can in the description. I also got some pampas grass from A Floral. That stuff smells terrible, so I had to leave it outside of my room for a couple of days just to air it out, but it's really pretty, so it's worth it. Okay. I used to put my jewelry either like hanging on this person or just kind of piled up around it, and that was kind of a mess because like if you had a couple of necklaces hanging like this and you wanted to get this one, then you have to slide everything else off and then get it and then slide it back on. Too much work. So I got this cute little jewelry organizer instead, and the stuff is already falling out of place. There we go. And this could be yours for only $19.99 plus shipping and handling. For the art, people always ask me where I got this poster. I got it for free at an exhibition at the Chicago Cultural Center a couple of years ago. I did find an image of it online, so theoretically you could print one out for yourself. It probably will be a terrible quality, so unfortunately the originals are probably no longer available. This I printed out when I was redecorating my room a couple of years ago. This was from a catalog. This was ripped right out of a magazine. This was something we just had laying around the house. And then these, it is occurring to me now that these might be a slight violation of copyright. But basically, my dad had the idea to create a version of this art that we have in our downstairs bathroom. So he printed out these little drawings and then he framed them, and we just never ended up hanging them anywhere. So I thought they fit my room, so I just took them, and I hope they're not like illegal to have. This poor doorknob used to have so much stuff hanging from it that I could barely turn it, so I got this coat hook where I hang my most favorite tote bag. I wanted to get this mirror from IKEA, but unfortunately it was out of stock, so I kept procrastinating looking for another mirror, and then finally I had the deadline for this video coming up, and I was just like, okay, I'm going to At Home, which is this American store that you might have heard of, and I don't care what mirrors they have there, I am coming home with one of those mirrors. And I think it was good because it kind of forced me out of my style comfort zone, and I actually really like how this looks here, so everything worked out in the end. It's also just very flattering. There's something about the angle. As far as mirrors go and making me feel confident, this mirror is right up there with like those little flip down mirrors in cars. I feel like I always look really good in those. These leaves, I'm sure I don't have to explain to you that they are fake. I'm terrible at taking care of plants, but I also really wanted some greenery, so this is my compromise. Oh, they do smell weird. People in the reviews were saying they smelled weird, but I didn't really believe them. Oh, it smells like sardines.
Do you have Among Us?
What?
Among Us, the game.
And then I've got those pampas grass that I mentioned, and also a little basket with a blanket in it. All right, let's head over to the desk area. So shout out to Jasmine from Study Quill for inspiring not one, but 2 aspects of my room. And the first was to get this adjustable standing desk. So you guys might know that before I was using a box and like this wooden board thing as my standing desk, and it worked, but it was not comfortable to use. If the height didn't feel exactly comfortable, I would literally grab textbooks and stack them up to stand on. If I wanted to switch between sitting and standing, I would have to move everything from like one platform to the other. It also just looked really ugly, and I had to unscrew my lamp and take everything apart when filming. So my prayers were answered in the form of a sponsorship partnership with FlexiSpot. They are a company that basically helps you create a work setup that is healthy and comfortable and conducive to productivity. So they have standing desks, standing desk converters, desk bikes, etc. What they sent me was their EC1 electric standing desk, and let me show you how it works because I'm very excited about this. It took some time to set up, but once you're done, it's really sturdy and heavy, so it's definitely worth it. But the important part of this desk is right here. So this is your little controller. This makes the desk go up and down. So you're supposed to like attach it here, but I have not committed to deciding whether I want it on this side or this side. So for now, I'm just kind of letting it hang. But let me take this out so that I can show you the lowest mode. So it goes from here all the way up to here. I think it's really nice to not just have two different modes, like one for sitting, one for standing, because I feel like I need different heights for different types of work. So like if I'm standing and typing, for example, or standing and writing, or if I were calling someone and I wanted my computer's camera to be level with my face. So I'm constantly changing this throughout the day as my butt gets tired from sitting or my legs get tired from standing. So there is a link in the description to this desk as well as their other products. Let's go back down. So yeah, on my desk, I have this wooden box where I keep my ugly pens, and then the nice pens get to stay in there. Another fake plant and this little dish for storing knickknacks. This grid I got ages ago from like a merchandising store. I don't remember where exactly I got it, but it's meant to like hang products. It is very heavy and I just never got around to hanging it, so it stayed just kind of propped up against a wall in the corner of my room for the longest time. But finally it gets to live out its life's purpose, so I think it looks really good here because if it were a different color it would just stand out too much from the wall, but because both the wall and the grid are black, it just kind of adds some texture to the wall. As I mentioned, I followed the Sorry Girls tutorial for these DIY pendant lights. It's just a shelf bracket, the same kind that I have over there, a light bulb and a cord. It doesn't get any easier than that. And then there is normally a laundry basket here, but my camera is currently sitting on top of it, and I added some moons and some more leaves. This dry erase board was a very last minute idea. It was not part of the original plan, but I've been thinking about getting a whiteboard for a long time, but I just thought a whiteboard wouldn't look good in my room, so I found out that they make these black dry erase boards. Basically, it's just a sheet of black glass, and it is a bit harder to erase than a regular whiteboard, but I don't plan on doing much erasing. What I have on it right now is my morning and evening routine. I want to write down some focuses for the month, for the week, and then something to improve on that week. And then this is like a very small weekly schedule to just get like a general idea of what I plan to be working on each day. Before we finish with this section, I need to give a huge thank you to Antonia from Antonia in the Universe. She is, first of all, an interior design genius, and she was so kind to help me with planning this. She literally designed all these different layouts for me and was one of the people who encouraged me to paint my walls black when I was a little nervous about it. So you should definitely check out her YouTube channel. Her videos are insanely high quality, and if you watch the Bliss Bean, you'll definitely like her videos. The only real change to the window area was the curtains, and this should have been easier. The first time I went to Target, I picked up a package of curtains, and then I got home and I realized it was just one single curtain. Never did it even occur to me that they would sell a single curtain, so then I went back and I got another one, which I thought was the same one, but then it turns out these are different lengths, so I'll have to return that. And then this is the last part. So again, I was inspired by Jasmine from Study Quill because she had that exact poster in her room tour, and I was like, I have to have that. The sun is too bright. The shelves stay the same and none of the decor is new either, except another one of my dad's fine art pieces. Other than that, I just like shuffled around the stuff that was up there to make it look new. I switched my bed sheets to these beige ones, which I think look very elegant. So if you want like a very easy upgrade for your bedroom, switch your white bed sheets out for beige ones. And then I have these string lights, which are really nice because they provide really good soft light for reading at night. Because before, I just had these tiny little fairy lights hanging from here, and I would be trying to like angle myself to get the best possible light and not strain my eyes. I still want to get some decorative pillowcases, but at the moment what I have, this is the pillow that came with my bed. It's an IKEA sofa bed, and I try to hide the ugly part of it under the blankets. This is just my regular pillow that I sleep on, and then this is a pillowcase that my grandma gave me. Okay, finally, last part. So the closet surprisingly was one of my favorite parts of the makeover because it just became so functional in ways that I wasn't really expecting. So first of all, the obvious thing is that there are no longer closet doors. I debated whether I should keep them because they did match the color of the floors and the door, or if I should paint them white to match the baseboards, or if I should change the handles. Finally, I just decided to replace them with curtains altogether. I still need to get like little hooks or something here so that I can push the curtains back and then like tuck them behind there so that I don't have to hold them open. But once I do that, I'll just be able to bring both sides back and then see everything in my closet. Whereas before, because there were two separate closet doors, I had to like push them back and forth to like go from one side of the closet to the other. It's also a nice backdrop for taking photos, and if I want to hang other backdrops, I can just hang them on the curtain rod up there. Let's take a look at this. Oh my gosh, this looks so good. So before, it was really hard to use the space up here because there was so much vertical room above this thing, but you couldn't really use it unless you somehow divided it. So basically, I had bits and pieces of old iterations of my room laying around. So this used to be where the thrifted table is now. This used to be part of my really old TV stand, and then when I took it apart, I just kept it under my window because I didn't know what to do with it. So both of them fit perfectly in my closet. I just had to move one support bar, and now I have these perfectly portioned little squares to use as storage. So I have all my clothes there in rainbow order, of course. Magazine holder for my documents. These are like some gifts that were sent to me. My old camera bag and laptop bag, bed sheets, boxes for stuff I bought, pen pal letters, photos, a bag of bags. And then in here, I'm still trying to perfect this, but first I tried to just fold and stack all of my pants and shorts and skirts and stuff. That wasn't really working for me because these are kind of awkward sizes and the stacks just kept falling over. So I used my favorite travel packing method, which is to roll everything and then like put the rolls on top of each other. I did an Instagram poll on this and asked you guys what you thought of this idea. A lot of you really liked it, some of you really didn't like it. I can see the results, so I know who voted what. It's working pretty well for me now though, but I also don't leave the house that much, so I don't use my clothing that much. I have books and notebooks here, and then I really like just wearing t-shirts around the house for exercising as pajamas, so I use this little box to fold them all up. I have my sock drawer down here and a bunch of toiletries like vertically stored in this box. Makeup bags. This box I don't really know what to do with, so for now it just holds one single hat. And then camera equipment and stuff goes in that bottom one that, oh, you can't even see. Oh, and then here I like to tie up like these little scarves and bandanas that I have, sunglasses, scarves behind there, and then face masks. Oh yeah, and shoes are down there. So then I guess the only thing I haven't talked about yet is this rug. I went back and forth a lot on this. When I first started this process, I wanted this style of rug, and then for a while I wanted like a simple geometric white and black rug. Same as with the mirror, basically I procrastinated on this for so long that when I went to at home, I was just like, I'm buying a rug today, I don't care which one it is, I just need a rug. At first when I brought it home, I was really unsure because it looked so bright, but then I realized that a lot of like the rug fibers were just really packed down. Like if you looked at it from one side, it looked way brighter than the other side, so I just had to fluff it up a little bit, and then I actually really liked it. Maybe for me it's just a tad small, but then the next size up was too big, so I'd rather just get the smaller one and save some money than get a really big one that covers up all of the hard work that we did with the flooring. When I'm working at my standing desk, I like to slide the rug towards it so that I have like texture underneath my feet. I don't know why that helps me focus, but so yeah, that is pretty much it. I love how it all turned out. I doubted this process many times along the way, but somehow, miraculously, it all came together. Now whenever I'm on a Zoom call, I'm just like casually tilting the camera to show off my room. Sometimes I look at it and I feel like not that much has changed, partly because this process took so long. It was stretched out over almost 3 months, but also partly because the layout of the room has stayed pretty much the same. I've just experimented with so many different layouts, and I found that this is just the one that works best for me, so I wanted to stick with that. But like in terms of decor, everything is so different, and I'm just really proud of myself for sticking with this process even when I was questioning all of my style decisions. And thank you for waiting so long for this video because I intended to finish the makeover and the video all back in July, which was absolutely insane. So I hope it was worth the wait. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to film videos in front of all these beautiful backgrounds that I have now. So thank you so much for watching this video. Please give it a like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next week. Bye!